Hello, everyone. My name is Mark. I'm 60 years old, and for more than 3 decades, I've worked at a major hospital in the U.S. where every day I meet dozens of patients worried about one number on their blood test blood sugar. There are mornings when I hold the test results in my hands and see countless eyes looking at me with the same question. Doctor, what does this number mean? Does this mean I'll need insulin shots for life? Will my life be tied to diabetes forever? Have you ever felt like that? Holding a small piece of paper with a few numbers, suddenly feeling like your future is hanging in the balance, like holding a mysterious letter, afraid to open it, but hoping for good news. I once met a man named William, 58, a truck driver. He said when the doctor told him he was pre-diabetic, he felt like he'd been sentenced. Doctor, I tried eating less, quitting soda, but why do the numbers keep climbing? He said, his voice carrying sadness and frustration. At that moment, I realized he wasn't just afraid of the disease. He was afraid of losing his freedom, the family dinners, the simple joy of a cold beer after a long day of driving. You see, diabetes isn't just about blood sugar. It's about emotions, worries, and unanswered questions. But today I want to tell you another story, one that I believe can bring hope. Modern science has given us remarkable evidence. Even small changes can make a big difference. A healthier meal, a walk after dinner, a good night's sleep, these can change your life. I once told a patient to try walking for 15 minutes each evening. 6 months later, he returned smiling. Doctor, my blood sugar is down. But the best part is my wife and I now share peaceful evenings walking together. I want you to imagine this. Your body is like a house. Inside, there's a stove. This stove burns sugar for energy. When we're young, the stove works efficiently. But as we age or eat poorly and move less, the stove becomes lazy. Sugar doesn't get burned, it piles up in the blood, and eventually it brings disease to your door. The good news is you can wake that stove up again. Science shows that just 20 minutes of walking after meals can help your muscles absorb sugar like a vacuum cleaner. Meals with more vegetables, fiber, and less refined carbs stabilize blood sugar levels significantly. And most importantly, change can start today. I share this not as a doctor quoting numbers, but as someone who has sat with patients in their most anxious moments, witnessing tears and smiles when they overcame the fear called diabetes. So in this video, we'll cover everything from the difference between type 1 and type 2, diabetes, why it develops its risks, how to prevent it, who's at risk, treatment methods, and advice for living healthy and peacefully, even with the diagnosis. Sit back, take a sip of warm tea if you can, and let's go through this story together. Because sometimes the right story at the right time can change the way we see our health and our life. So, why does diabetes develop? My friends, have you ever looked at your blood test results and wondered, why does my blood sugar keep rising, even though I'm trying to eat healthy and walk every day? I've heard that question countless times over the past 30 years. And honestly, there were days I asked myself the same thing. What is really happening inside our bodies? Today, let's explore the story within, where sugar, insulin, and every single cell have a silent conversation each day. 1. Imagine your body as a bustling city. Sugar, glucose, is the fuel like gas for cars or electricity for streetlights. Insulin, the hormone made by the pancreas, is the gatekeeper opening the doors so fuel can enter each house cell. When everything works smoothly, sugar enters the cells, turning into energy for walking, talking, working, and enjoying life. But what happens when the gatekeeper, insulin, has problems? In type 1, diabetes, insulin isn't produced. The doors stay closed. In type 2, insulin is there, but the key is worn out. The doors won't open properly. The result, sugar wanders the streets, your bloodstream, clogging the system, damaging blood vessels, nerves, and your heart. 2. Type 1 diabetes. When the immune system attacks by mistake. One of my patients, Sarah, 19, came in losing weight, rapidly thirsty all the time, urinating often and feeling exhausted. Her tests confirmed type 1 diabetes. In type 1, the immune system, the body's defense army, turns against the pancreas, destroying the insulin-producing cells. Like guards betraying the city, tearing down the key factory. Without insulin, sugar can't enter cells. Sarah had to start insulin immediately to survive. Science still can't fully explain why this mistaken attack happens. Genetics, viruses, environment, or a mix of all three may play roles. But know this: type 1 diabetes isn't caused by eating sugar, and no diet alone can prevent it. 3. Type 2. Diabetes. When lifestyle and time wear the body down, unlike type 1, type 2 makes up 90 to 95% of all cases worldwide, and it's the one we can strongly influence with lifestyle choices. A patient of mine, John 52, overweight, high blood pressure, sedentary, once said, "Doctor, I cut out soda but still got diabetes." Why? I explain. Not just sugar, but refined carbs. White bread, white rice, fries, quickly spike blood glucose. Belly fat causes insulin resistance. Insulin is there, but cells don't respond. Stress, poor sleep, lack of exercise, all build the wall-blocking insulin. 4. Genetics and environment. Not just a personal story. Some ask, my parents had diabetes. Am I doomed? The answer, not necessarily. Genes raise risk, but lifestyle decides if or how fast disease appears. Research on thousands of Americans shows people with high-risk genes but healthy habits cut their diabetes risk by 50 to 60% compared to those with unhealthy lifestyles. We can't choose our genes, but we can choose our actions. 5. Aging, the silent craftsman. After 40 or 50, muscle mass shrinks, belly fat grows, insulin sensitivity drops. You eat less, yet gain more weight, sleep less, yet feel more tired. Aging makes diabetes risk rise unless habits change. 6. Stress and sleep. The quiet culprits. Stress raises cortisol, the fight-or-flight hormone, spiking blood sugar to fuel imagined battles. Modern life keeps us stressed, blood sugar constantly high. Poor sleep disrupts glucose hormones, raises appetite, causes weight gain, insulin resistance. 7. 3 keys to remember. 1. Type 1. Autoimmune attack on pancreas. Can't prevent but can manage well. 2. Type 2. Lifestyle, weight, genes, age, stress, sleep all matter, but lifestyle change can reverse progression. 3. You can't choose genes, but you can choose daily habits. 8. Questions to ponder. Are you sleeping enough? Moving at least 30 min day? Getting yearly checkups? Letting stress control you too long? If no, maybe it's time to change. Diabetes knocks for years before entering. Will you hear it in time? 9. Conclusion. We've explored how diabetes begins. Type 1 and 2, from genes, lifestyle, aging, sleep, stress. Next, we'll cover its dangers, not to scare you, but to show why we must act now. Knowledge isn't just to know, but to live better. How dangerous is diabetes? My friends, when I tell patients diabetes doesn't kill immediately, but its silent complications are truly dangerous, many can't picture what that really means. They often look at me puzzled. Doctor, isn't high blood sugar just something you take medicine for? Why so much worry? Maybe because diabetes doesn't cause sudden sharp pain. It's not like a heart attack striking in minutes. Diabetes is like a quiet river, seemingly calm on the surface, but beneath the current erodes the banks day by day. And when the dam breaks, it's too late. Today, let's face the real dangers of diabetes, not to scare you, but to help you understand and protect yourself. 1. Richard's story. When the storm came too late, I remember one afternoon 5 years ago, Richard, 67, was rushed to our hospital with a massive heart attack. We found he had type 2 diabetes for over 10 years, but barely controlled his blood sugar. He thought taking medicine when he remembered was enough diet exercise. I'll deal with it later, he said. Richard wasn't alone. Many feel fine for years, so they ignore it. But inside damage is happening silently. High blood sugar is like sandpaper grinding blood vessels, making them stiff and fragile. A single clot blocking a coronary artery, and the heart collapses. Richard survived surgery. Through tears, he said, "Doctor, if only I listened sooner, maybe I wouldn't have this metal cage in my heart." 2. How diabetes silently destroys the body. I call diabetes a silent thief. No noise, no warning, but day after day it steals your health. Science shows high blood sugar damages 1 large vessels, heart disease, stroke; 2 small vessels, eyes, kidneys, nerves; 3 chronic inflammation, weak immunity, slow healing, more infections. The scary part. All of this happens quietly. You feel fine until complications strike, sometimes too late. 3. Hidden enemies of diabetes. A heart disease and stroke, 70% of diabetics die from these. High sugar damages vessel walls, builds plaque like gunk in pipes, A single blocked brain vessel for minutes can kill brain cells, steal speech, movement, even life. B. Kidney disease. Kidneys are filters. High sugar ruins tiny vessels failing to filter toxins. Many end up on dialysis 3 times a week, telling me, "Doctor, dialysis is harder than a full shift at the factory." C. Blindness. Diabetes is the top cause of adult blindness. High sugar wrecks retinal vessels. At first, blurry vision. Ignored, it leads to permanent vision loss. D. Nerve damage. Patients say, "Doctor, my feet burn, sting, go numb." High sugar kills nerves, especially in feet and hands. Wounds go unnoticed. Infections spread, sometimes leading to amputations. E. Infections and slow healing. High sugar weakens immunity. A small cut can turn into a severe infection. I treated one small foot scratch that nearly cost the patient his leg. 4. Mental health toll. The invisible burden. Diabetes doesn't just hit the body. Many fall into depression, feeling guilty about food, fearing complications. We must treat both the blood sugar and the soul. 5. Why we often detect it. Late, most people learn they have diabetes after complications appear. Early stages show no symptoms. Blood sugar rises slowly for years. That's why I urge regular checkups, especially after 40 or with risk factors. 6. But there's hope. Eleanor's story. Eleanor, 61. Type 2 diabetes for 3 years, was scared at first. Then she walked 30 minutes daily, cut sugar, ate vegetables, slept 8 hours. 6 months later, her A1C dropped from 8.5 to 6.2 without more meds. She told me, "Doctor, diabetes isn't the end. It's a reminder to love myself more." 7. My message to you. Diabetes is dangerous, yes, but it's not a death sentence. Early detection, proper treatment, lifestyle changes these save lives. I've seen hundreds like Eleanor live decades in health. So can you. 8. Questions to ponder. When was your last blood sugar check? Do you know your blood pressure, cholesterol? Do you walk 30 minutes daily? If not, let today be the first step. 9. Conclusion. We've seen how dangerous diabetes can be. I hope you now see both the risks and the hope. With knowledge and action, you can control your health. Next, we'll explore prevention through diet, exercise, and lifestyle. The small things that change the future. So, how to prevent diabetes through diet, exercise, and lifestyle. My dear friends, when it comes to diabetes, many people only think about medication. They ask me, "Doctor, if I have diabetes, taking medicine is enough, right?" But the truth is, medicine is only part of the story. Diabetes, especially type 2, mostly comes from our lifestyle. What we eat, drink, how we move, even how we sleep and handle stress. The good news is we can completely prevent, even reverse the progress of the disease with small but consistent changes. Today, I will share simple things proven by science, practiced by my patients, and how their lives have transformed. Pinanimasu. 1. Diet, the foundation of health. One of my patients, Linda, 55, used to have pastries and sweet coffee for breakfast every day. Her blood sugar was always sky high. I didn't ask her to quit everything, I simply suggested, "Linda, try starting your morning with a bowl of oatmeal, some blueberries, and a few walnuts. Just one meal and see how your body responds." She followed through, and 6 months later, her A1C dropped significantly. No magic, just a different breakfast. Science shows that a simple low-sugar diet rich in fiber, lean protein, and healthy fats can reduce the risk of diabetes by 58% in people with prediabetes. So how should you eat? Eat plenty of greens, at least half your plate each meal. Fiber slows down blood sugar spikes. Choose whole grains, brown rice, oats, whole wheat bread instead of refined carbs. Lean protein, fish, skinless chicken, beans, eggs. Healthy fats, olive oil, almond butter, avocados, chia seeds, flax seeds. Avoid refined sugar, soda, candies, packaged fruit juices. Remember, you don't have to be perfect overnight. Just replace one less healthy meal each week with a better one, like Linda did, and you'll see changes. A sobriety one. 2. Exercise, the golden key. I always tell my patients, your muscles are the strongest sugar vacuum you have. When you move your muscles, pull sugar from the blood for fuel. Research shows just 30 minutes of walking daily can cut diabetes risk by 50%. Another patient, James, 60, used to hate exercise. He said, "Doctor, the gym isn't for me." I smiled and said, "Then don't go to the gym. Walk around the neighborhood with your wife, garden, dance when your favorite song comes on. Whatever brings you joy, start with that." James listened. 6 months later, he lost 15 pounds, his blood sugar stabilized, and he told me, I'm not just healthier, I'm happier. 20. Sleep, the free medicine we often forget. Many people think sleeping less to work more is toughness. But for your body, sleep deprivation is a silent enemy. When you sleep under 6 hours a night, your body releases more cortisol, the hormone that raises blood sugar. Ask yourself, when was the last time I slept a full 8 hours? Deep, regular sleep doesn't just keep you alert. It balances hormones, reduces cravings, and helps control blood sugar effectively. 4. Stress management, medicine for the soul. I treated Maria, 63, who constantly worried about her kids' work and finances. Her blood sugar stayed high despite a healthy diet. We realized chronic stress was the culprit. Stress keeps the body in fight mode, constantly releasing cortisol, pushing blood sugar higher. Maria began meditating 10 minutes every morning, practicing deep breathing, and joining a senior yoga class. 3 months later, her blood sugar dropped significantly. She said, I'm not only healthier, I feel at peace. Regular health checkups. Many patients only find out they have diabetes when complications show up. Don't wait until it's too late. If you're over 40 or have risk factors, like being overweight, inactive, or with a family history, check your blood sugar at least once a year. Early detection is like putting out a spark before it becomes a wildfire. 6. Questions to reflect on. Shibro, how many veggies did you eat today? Did you exercise at least 30 minutes a day? Did you sleep 7 and 8 hours each night? Shibri, did you get your annual health check? If the answer is no, then right now is the time to start. Maberwin searches so worried. 7. A message from a doctor's heart. In over 30 years of practice, I've seen people who seem hopeless stay healthy for decades simply by changing daily habits. A better diet, an evening walk, a full night's sleep, more smiles, less stress. Diabetes may be a challenge, but it's also a reminder that our bodies need care and love. And I believe if you start today, your future will be different. 8. Conclusion for this part. We've just covered how to prevent diabetes through diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, and regular checkups. In the next part, we'll talk about who's at high risk for diabetes, so you know where you stand in this picture and can act before it's too late. Stay with me, because knowledge only matters when it leads you to a healthier, more peaceful life. Who is at high risk for diabetes? My friends, have you ever wondered, am I in the high-risk group for diabetes? In 30-plus years of practice, I've met thousands of patients. Some were diagnosed early when it was easy to control. Others only found out after severe complications appeared. The difference often lies in whether they knew their risks. Today, let's explore who is at high risk for diabetes. And more importantly, if you know your risk, what can you do to change your future? 1. Susan's story. When risk knocks silently. Susan, 62, came in with fatigue, thirst, unexplained weight loss. Tests confirmed type 2 diabetes. She was shocked. She never thought she was at risk. She wasn't overweight, didn't eat too much sugar. But reviewing family history, her father had diabetes at 70. Her brother had type 2 diabetes at 55. Genetics quietly raised her risk without her noticing. 2. Genetics. When your DNA speaks, science shows. One parent with diabetes doubles your risk. Both parents' risk rises to 50–70%. But genetics isn't destiny. It's like a loaded gun. Lifestyle pulls the trigger or not. Studies in the U.S. show high-risk genes plus healthy habits now show up to 60% lower diabetes risk than high-risk genes, plus unhealthy habits. We can rewrite our story through lifestyle choices. 3. Weight and belly fat. The silent accomplices. Belly fat, even in people not visibly overweight, drives insulin resistance. I had a patient, Robert, 55, normal weight, but big belly. Tests showed prediabetes. After losing 5 kilos and exercising 6 months, his sugar normalized. Losing just 5–7% body weight can cut diabetes risk by 58%. 4. Age. When the body ages after 40, risk rises steadily. After 60, it doubles versus age 30. Muscle drops, fat rises, cells respond less to insulin. Liver and pancreas age, slowing metabolism. 5. Sedentary lifestyle. When muscles sleep, muscles burn sugar. Exercise opens doors for sugar without insulin. Sedentary life keeps muscles asleep, sugar levels climb. Less active, 40% higher diabetes risk even at same weight. 6. Unhealthy diet. It's not just sweets, refined carbs, white rice, white bread, Pasta quickly turn into glucose. Fried processed foods worsen weight gain and insulin resistance. 7. Stress and sleep deprivation. Poor sleep raises hunger hormones, lowers fullness hormones, makes you crave sugar. Chronic stress raises cortisol, raising blood sugar constantly. 8. Medical history and other risks. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, PCOS, or gestational diabetes. Higher type 2 diabetes risk. 9. David's story, risk awareness brings change. David 50, overweight, high blood pressure, family history. After pre-diabetes diagnosis, he started walking daily, eating better, sleeping well. 6 months later, his sugar returned to normal. 10. Practical advice. If over 40 overweight, family history, inactive, or had gestational diabetes, get regular checkups. Early detection, putting out a spark before a wildfire. 11. Questions to reflect on. Do you know your recent blood sugar? Any family history? Do you exercise 30 minutes a day? Sleep 7-8 hours night? If no, take this as your body's gentle reminder. 12. Conclusion. We've seen who's at risk. Risk isn't destiny. It's a warning to act early, not a sentence to fear. Next, what if you're diagnosed? Treatment options. Success rates, complications, especially type 1 versus type 2. Treatment solutions, success rates, and complications after treatment. My dear friends, in the previous sections, we've talked about the causes, the dangers, prevention methods, and who is at high risk for diabetes. And perhaps right now a question is echoing in your mind. Doctor, if I'm diagnosed with diabetes, what happens? Then can it be completely cured, or will I have to live with it for life? This is a question I've heard thousands of times over more than 30 years of practice. And today I want to answer slowly, clearly, like a friend sitting across from you, so you understand that diabetes is not the end. 1. Type 1 diabetes, when the body stops producing insulin. Let's start with type 1 diabetes, usually diagnosed in younger people, but sometimes in older adults as well. In type 1, the pancreas nearly stops producing insulin. Without insulin, sugar from food can't enter the cells and just lingers in the blood, raising blood sugar levels. A. Treatment solutions. Lifelong insulin therapy. For type 1 diabetes, insulin is the only key. No pill can replace it. Patients need daily insulin injections 2 or 3 times a day, or a continuous insulin pump attached to the body. Frequent blood sugar monitoring. Today, devices attach to the skin and connect to smartphones tracking glucose continuously without frequent finger pricks. This allows better control and fewer complications. Balanced diet and exercise. Eat sensibly, avoid big spikes and drops in blood sugar. Exercise improves insulin sensitivity and reduces medication needs. Education and emotional support. Patients must know how to handle low and high blood sugar episodes, but more importantly, keep a positive spirit. B. Success rates. With medical advances, people with type 1 diabetes can live healthy lives for 50-60 years after diagnosis, if well managed. I have a patient named Emily diagnosed with type 1 at 15. Now at 55, she's still teaching walking with her husband every evening and smiling every time she visits me. She says, "Dr. Diabetes taught me discipline. It hasn't stopped me from living a full life." 2. Type 2 diabetes. When the body resists insulin. Unlike type 1 and type 2 diabetes, the body still makes insulin, but the cells don't respond to it. This is called insulin resistance. It accounts for 90 to 95% of all diabetes cases, often seen in middle-aged, overweight, inactive people. A. Treatment solutions. 1. Lifestyle changes, the strongest free medicine. Losing 5 to 7% of body weight can dramatically lower blood sugar. Eat more vegetables, whole grains, less sugar, fewer refined carbs. Walk 30 minutes daily to strength training 2-3 times a week. 2. Blood sugar medications. Metformin, first-line drug, reduces liver glucose production, improves insulin sensitivity. SGLT2 inhibitors lower blood sugar and protect heart and kidneys. GLP-1 agonists help with weight loss and reduce cardiovascular risk. Some type 2 patients may eventually need insulin if pancreatic cells become exhausted and stop producing enough. B. Success rates. The good news, many studies show newly diagnosed type 2 diabetes patients can return blood sugar to normal without medication if they start losing weight, exercising, and eating healthily early on. I remember George, 52, diagnosed with type 2, with an A1C of 8.2. We began a Mediterranean diet, daily 40-minute walks, cut out soda and fast food. 6 months later, his A1C dropped to 5.9, nearly normal without medication. He smiled and said, "Doctor, turns out what I needed most wasn't a pill. It was a pair of walking shoes." Mara Subrayuram, Shirichi. 3. Complications after treatment if poorly managed. Many ask, "Doctor, if I take medicine regularly, will I be safe from complications?" The answer: medicine matters, but lifestyle makes the biggest difference. Without good blood sugar control, even with medication, complications can include heart disease, heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, requiring dialysis or transplant, blindness from diabetic retinopathy, amputations from nerve damage and infections. Dementia. Diabetes increases Alzheimer's risk. I once treated Paul, 68, who lost his right leg to diabetic foot infection. He held my hand and said, voice trembling, "If only I had checked my blood sugar earlier, had regular exams maybe." That unfinished sentence still haunts me. 4. Scientific outlook and future hope. Research on stem cell therapy, pancreas transplants, type 1 diabetes vaccines, and new medications for type 2 is advancing rapidly. In 10-20 years, we may see breakthroughs letting patients live without constant insulin or excessive medication. But until then, lifestyle remains the foundation. Medication and technology are the support. 5. Advice from a doctor's heart. If you've just been diagnosed with diabetes, remember, don't panic, this is not the end. Find a doctor who partners with you, not just prescribing drugs, but guiding lifestyle changes. You learn to monitor your blood sugar, listen to your body. And most importantly, keep faith. I've seen hundreds live decades with diabetes, happy, healthy, doing what they love. 6. Questions to reflect on. When was the last time you checked your blood sugar? If your doctor advised lifestyle changes, have you started? 3. Are stress, poor sleep, or unhealthy eating harming your health? Sometimes the answers to these matter more than any pill. Set conclusion for this section. We've just covered treatment, solutions, success rates, and complications for both type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Next, we'll move to the final advice, prevention, screening, and holding on to hope. So we end this journey with strength and optimism, not fear. Stay with me because this will help you see diabetes with calmer eyes, greater control, and renewed hope. Final advice: prevention, screening, vaccines, and holding on to hope. My dear friends, as we reach the end of this journey, I want you to pause with me for a moment. Take a sip of tea, breathe deeply, and let's reflect on everything we've covered. We've talked about causes, risks, silent complications, and treatment solutions, but stopping there wouldn't be enough, because health isn't only about medicine. It's about how we live each day and how we believe in the future. So today I want to share with you the final 4 keys: prevention, screening, vaccines, and holding on to hope. 1. Prevention, taking control from the start. I once met a patient, Mr. Thomas, 60, who came in worried because both his parents had diabetes. He asked, "Doctor, am I destined to be like them?" I looked at him and said, "Mr. Thomas, genetics hands us the gun. But whether we pull the trigger or not, that's our choice." And I shared with him what science has proven. Losing 5 to 7% of body weight cuts diabetes risk by up to 58%. 150 minutes of exercise per week. Nearly 50% lower risk of heart disease and diabetes. Eating more greens, whole grains, less sugar, fewer processed foods significantly reduces diabetes risk. Mr. Thomas made changes. 6 months later, his lab results were completely normal. Prevention isn't just theory, it's real and it's in your hands. 2. Screening, detecting it before it's too late. Diabetes is like a silent river. The water rises slowly and we don't notice until the dam breaks. I've seen patients who only discovered their diabetes after a heart attack, stroke, or kidney failure. That's when they realized, if only I had checked my health sooner. So what does screening mean? Over 40, check blood sugar at least once a year. Risk factors like overweight, family history, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, sedentary lifestyle, screen earlier. Women with gestational diabetes need regular checkups since risk of type 2 diabetes is 7 times higher. Today, blood sugar tests, HbA1c, and glucose tolerance tests are simple, affordable, and life-saving when done early. 3. Vaccines, the future of medicine and hope for diabetes. You might not know scientists are working on vaccines for type 1 diabetes aimed at stopping the immune system from destroying pancreatic cells. Though still experimental, early results are promising. In 10 to 20 years, future generations may not face type 1 diabetes the way we do today. Research on stem cell therapy, artificial pancreas, transplants, and next-generation drugs for type 2 diabetes is also opening new doors for patients. Medicine moves forward, and hope is always alive. Attorney 1, certain. 4. Holding on to hope. Because health is a lifelong journey. In 30 years of practice, I've seen patients collapse under the weight of diagnosis, but I've also seen people live decades with diabetes, happy, healthy, and full of life. What makes the difference? Not just medication, but mindset. I remember Mrs. Margaret, 68, diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at 55. She told me, "Doctor, I don't see diabetes as the enemy. I see it as a strict friend. If I take care of myself, it stays quiet. If I neglect it, it reminds me right away." She practices yoga every morning, eats well, checks her blood sugar regularly, and enjoys life with her grandchildren. Last year, she even traveled to Europe, something many think diabetics can't do. Hope doesn't just make you healthier, it makes life richer. Suffering for the big picture for you. Looking back, we have 4 powerful keys. 1. Prevention, healthy eating, exercise, weight control, stress reduction. 2. Screening, regular blood sugar checks, especially with risk factors. 3. Vaccines and modern medicine, opening doors for the future. 4. Holding on to hope. Because health is about more than numbers, it's about quality of life and happiness every day. 6. Questions to reflect on. When was your last blood sugar check? Did you walk for 30 minutes today? Are you living under too much stress? Do you believe you can change your health future? I believe a yes to these questions can transform your life. 7. A final message from a doctor's heart. My dear friends, diabetes is not the end. It's a reminder that our bodies need care, love, and attention. Start today with a healthier meal, a short walk, a full night's sleep. Small changes create big differences. And remember, you are not alone. Millions of people are on this journey with you. Medicine, the community, and we are here to walk with you. 8. Closing words for this journey. We've traveled far from causes, risk, complications, treatments, to prevention, screening, vaccines, and hope. My wish is that when this video ends, you carry not only knowledge, but also calmness, hope, and the strength to take action. Because health doesn't come from what we know, it comes from what we do every single day. So we've walked this long road together, and now it's time to say goodbye. Closing words and call to action. My dear friends, we've traveled a long journey together. From the causes of diabetes, hidden risks, silent complications, to treatment solutions, prevention strategies, and finally holding on to hope. But I don't want to end this video with just knowledge. Because health doesn't change simply by knowing more. It changes when we begin to act. Airborne Forintorma. Synonym 1. Start with the smallest steps. I know changing habits isn't always easy, but you can start with the simplest things. Walk 15 to 20 minutes every day. Cut out 1 can of soda, add 1 plate of vegetables. And go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Check your blood sugar regularly instead of waiting for symptoms. Take 1 small step today and you'll be amazed at the difference in 6 months or a year. 2. Share your story. In 30 years of practice, I've learned this: every patient is a story, and every story deserves to be heard. If you're watching this video, I invite you to leave your questions in the comments below. Share your experience. How have you changed your lifestyle? What challenges did you face? Or simply tell me, what topics would you like me to cover in future videos? I'll read everything, and maybe your question will inspire the next video so we can learn and grow together. When this community. Health is a journey no one should walk alone. I want this community to be a place where we share easy to understand medical knowledge. And we encourage and inspire one another. And most importantly, we help each other live healthy, peaceful lives at 50, 60, 70, and beyond. So I invite you to like this video if you found it helpful. Share it with family and friends, because one piece of information might change someone's health. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss upcoming videos. 4. A message from a doctor's heart. My dear friends, I've witnessed thousands battling diabetes. Some stumbled, but many stood up and transformed their lives for the better. The difference isn't about age or genes, but about today's decisions. Never the decision to walk, the decision to eat healthier, the decision to get regular checkups. Someone, the decision to believe tomorrow can be better than today. And I believe you can do it too. Run differential. A temporary farewell. When this video ends, I hope you carry not only knowledge but also faith and motivation to start a new chapter for your health. Leave a comment below, share your story or questions. I'm here to listen, to walk with you, and to help you find answers. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can meet again in future videos where we'll explore nutrition, healthy living, and secrets to a long, healthy, happy life. See you in the next video.